Are you thinking about starting a microgreen business? I did, until I realized I had to give it up. It was not because I failed, but because I succeeded in the wrong direction. Here's why I stopped growing and selling microgreens, and what I do instead is way more powerful. Later in this video, I will share with you the one decision that completely changed how I grow and serve people. And it's something that most microgreen businesses just completely overlook. Hi, I'm Connor Hebel, and we empower people to grow their own health. I started growing microgreens at 7 years old, and today I help people discover not only how to grow, but why it matters. You know, the microgreen business model works. At 14, when I had started my business, I had lots of people lined up ready to buy my microgreens. I had restaurants, individuals, even local small markets, such as Amelia Fresh, ready lined up to buy my microgreens. At 14, I felt like I had cracked the code, but something just felt off. You see, I had been growing microgreens since I was 7 years old because it really impacted my health and made a huge difference in my life. And I wanted to give people that same feeling, especially during COVID, when the produce was super funky and you never knew what you were getting. I wanted to be able to supply some fresh, organic, pesticide-free food that wasn't gonna dip in quality. And that's been my mission from the very beginning. One day, my mom and I were just sitting around and she turned to me and said, "Does your mission statement match what you're doing by growing and selling? It's great that you're growing and selling microgreens." And I really reflected on that. Is my mission statement in alignment with growing microgreens? And at that moment, I realized that what I've been doing wasn't in alignment with my mission. And that's okay. There's two ways that you can go about this. One is to change your mission statement, and the other is to then follow what your mission statement was originally about. And during this reflection period, I remembered the quote of "teach a man to fish." And I realized that I was giving people fish. I wasn't teaching them how to fish like I had initially come into my business planning to. I got really tied into the lucrative side of microgreens because when you grow and sell microgreens, it's very lucrative, very easy, and it just is really cool because you get like instant gratification seeing people eating your microgreens right in a restaurant and seeing how they enjoy it. It is such an incredible experience, and I highly recommend it. And I realized since I had started my business in COVID, and the reason why I had gotten into it is because people were dealing with food insecurity. They weren't able to get good quality food at the store. I wanted to give people that ability to be able to grow their food right at their home and not have to rely on whatever's going on in the grocery store chain, because you never know. Knock on wood, something doesn't happen, but we don't know. And I want you to be able to be prepared for it. Whether it's a hurricane or something like that that could knock the power out, make it so it's hard to leave your house, you can still be growing food and be able to get nutrient density that will help you stay full until you can get out of an emergency. And had I kept growing and selling microgreens, I wouldn't have been able to help the multiple kids who have no interest in vegetables starting out when they grow their microgreens. But then as they're growing their microgreens, they start to become invested in watching these plants grow. And then they're like, you know what? I want to eat my microgreens because I created this. Well, then the next thing that happens, they start eating vegetables. And these are kids that don't want anything to do with vegetables. Had I grown and supplied microgreens, they wouldn't have had that sense of empowerment that they had from growing their own microgreen. And so going back to my mission, I was really able to decide, what is it that I'm really looking to do in my business? That's when I realized that creating microgreen kits was gonna lead to an even bigger impact and allow me to do the things that I had set out to do when I started Amelia Island Microgreen. And that's when it clicked. My mission meant more than margin. I took everything that I had learned through the trials, the systems, the structures, and took it and used it to create something empowering, a microgreen kit. Yes, it meant less profit upfront per sale, but it also meant more impact because now I'm building even better relationships with the people who come back for seed refills, who grow with their kids, for the people who say, I've never grown anything in my life, or I have a brown thumb and I can grow microgreens. I'm hooked. That is such a huge compliment when I can show someone that they can grow a microgreen. I like to say, you may not have a green thumb, but you have a microgreen thumb. It is so easy to grow, and I am sure you can grow your microgreen. Let me share with you a little secret. I have a succulent graveyard. Yes, the person who can grow microgreens has a succulent graveyard. I'm not kidding either. When COVID hit and everyone was buying succulents, I was there too. I bought a bunch of succulents. They're all dead. The reason is with microgreens, it only takes 7 days to grow them. And when you have a succulent, you can have that for years, which means that you have to take care of that plant throughout all of the years that you have it. Whereas with microgreens, as long as you can keep a plant alive for 7 days, you can grow microgreens. Because after that, you can harvest them, you can let them keep growing, whichever one works for you, but you're not gonna be growing them for more than 14 days. So 7 days, you have microgreens, you don't need to take care of them after that. And it's as simple as just putting a cup of water every day in your kit, and you're ready to go. There's no weeding, no bugs, you don't have to worry about the weather. So to be able to give people this ability to have sustainability easily and effortlessly is such a cool thing, and I am so glad that I am able to support you in your growing mission. You see, growing microgreens isn't a business anymore. It's a community and a movement. It's not just about profit, it's about purpose and sustainability. Speaking of sustainability, I'm really excited to say that I got a grant from FedEx to remove 98% of my single-use plastics from the kits, and that is so huge. To be able to reduce the plastic use in the kits, and this is just phase 2 of a 3-phase system that we're looking to move plastics out of the kit entirely. Stay tuned, because in a few videos, you're gonna get to see all the magic of Amelia Island Microgreens unfold. As more people grow, they come back for new products, education, and that's recurring revenue with loyalty. It is playing the long game, and I choose that again every time. Let me know in the comments below, have you ever walked away from something profitable to follow your purpose? If so, I'd love to hear your story. What made you leave that? And if you could do it all again, what would you do differently? Let me know in the comments below. Since you're ready to start growing your microgreens, go to AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com/101 for free microgreen masterclass, where I take you through how to grow microgreens, the health benefits, and recipes at the end, using my 14 years of microgreen growing experience. Yes, I've been growing microgreens for 14 years, and I'm excited to share with you the things that have worked really well and the things I wish I had known when I started. So be sure to check it out, AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com/101 for a free microgreen masterclass. So now that I've talked about how I went from growing and selling microgreens to then creating microgreen kits, you might be wondering, Connor, will you ever grow microgreens and sell them again? The answer is, of course I will. It's something I love doing, and while it isn't my main focus anymore, I do still grow and supply microgreens to a few local restaurants. I've been supplying microgreens to a local Italian restaurant called Cucina South, and I was giving them basil microgreens. And that was really fun because those take like 2 weeks to grow, and they're much different than growing your regular microgreens. They're really fun once you get used to them. And those are more like your challenging-ish microgreens. They smell really good like basil. And it's really fun to go in and see my microgreens topped on their Italian food. The only difference is now that isn't my main focus. I've prioritized what is the biggest impact to Amelia Island Microgreens' mission, and how can I fulfill that? And so, of course, it's the microgreen kits, and every so often it's growing and selling microgreens. Not everyone will want to grow their own microgreens, and so to be able to supply to those people is really cool too. And I know my mission is to be able to empower people, to give them Manafish, and to be able to allow them to keep growing. Because I believe that everyone deserves fresh, nutrient-packed food that is free of pesticides and free of all of the stuff that can be harmful to our bodies. And that is why I have created my business, to help you grow even better health. So let me know in the comments, what are your biggest takeaways from this video? What is it that has inspired you to move forward into your next step in your business? If you're interested in diving even deeper into the microgreen business side of things, let me know and I can do a video specific on how to start your microgreen business. Because there are some key things you'll want to know to be able to start and launch your business. And it's a lot easier than starting other businesses because it's already in such a demand. So let me know in the comments if that's of interest. So remember that one decision I said changed everything? Be sure to stick around because it's coming up in just a moment. If this video is helping you think differently about growing microgreens, be sure to give it a like so I know that this message is resonating. So what is that one decision that changed everything for me? It's going from selling to serving. That one pivot from profit to purpose completely transformed my business and gave me an even deeper reason to keep growing. So you've heard why I've stopped growing and selling. And now you're probably wondering, how do I actually start growing my microgreens myself? Don't worry, I got you covered in this next video. If you want to be the first to know when I drop my next microgreen videos from tutorials, recipes, and everything in between, be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the next awesome microgreen content coming. And if you want to go even deeper into microgreen business and purpose, be sure to check out AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com/101 for your free microgreen masterclass today. So now that you know why I made that pivot, it's time to learn how to start growing microgreens for yourself. Click on this video on your screen right now. I'll see you there. And as always, stay awesome.